Hi Mortgage Heroes, Andy Cruz here in Business Development, and this is Monday Mortgage Minute. Welcome back to a new week. You probably already saw that last week we had a pleasant surprise when it came to inflation, with all CPI readings coming in better than expected. But wait a second, lower, not declining? That's right. For instance, one expectation was that inflation would increase by 0.6%, and it only increased by 0.4%. So the little trick here is that it's about that little plus sign. Yes, it was lower than 0.6, but it was still in positive territory, which means still expanding. It's just that it was less than expected. Let's use a real quick real-world example. Let's say I weigh 200 pounds in the month of September. And then in October, my weight went up by 1%. I would therefore weigh 202 pounds in October. Then the next month, my estimated weight gain went down to only 0.5% in November. My weight would go from 202 pounds to 203 pounds. 203.1 to be exact. So now, even though my weight gain has lessened in speed, it still increased overall. So my weight was 200 in September, it was 202 in October, and 203 in November. Still increasing, just not as fast. So has my weight peaked yet? I mean, we'll actually kind of wait and see because we're coming around all these eating seasons right now. So this may or may not actually be a real world example. But a metaphor for inflation. As you can see in this quick little simple demonstration, it has slowed, but also still maintained increasing. Also serving as a metaphor. In this example, you can see that inflation has slowed, but still increased over the course of time. So there you have it. That's how inflation works. And that's how my weight looks. They're both still positive. It might be peaking, but we'll see what happens in December. And with that, here's what you should look for this week. On Tuesday, we have the PPI report coming out, which is the cost to manufacture goods on the producer side, so the wholesale side of things, which is a predictor of the increase or decrease of the cost on the consumer side. On Wednesday, we have the retail sales number, which is going to be important because this is going to tell us whether or not the consumer is still spending money. But I would also argue that the method by which they're spending money is really important. Are we using cash and debit cards to buy all these things, or are we using credit? Thursday, we have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, which is going to tell us what kind of manufacturing orders are coming into the market. This is kind of looked as a prelude to general GDP. Is our economy expanding or contracting, and by what rate? The big question for me this week is, will the PPI report come out and confirm or conflict with last week's CPI reading that came in lower than expected, but still in positive territory? That is the one key thing I'm going to be watching for this week among all these other things. It's not that the others are less important, it's just that we might see a semi-muted response in the rate world as a result of those things. The reason is because last week's CPI was deemed so positive and optimistic that rates crumbled intraday and then stayed at the end of the week in their lowest levels in recent months. For those of you that were locking loans last week, man, you were looking really good. In some cases, loans went down in interest rate by 0.5%, 0.25%, and in some cases by an entire percent. But don't get too comfortable there. This may be short-lived. And of course, we don't have a crystal ball, but like I've been saying, the general trend for loans is still upwards over the course of time until it tilts and it goes in a different direction. And this is that exact lull where I keep telling you there's gonna be dips in rates on certain days, and they may be here for a little bit of a window, but don't get too comfortable there because they could whip back on you tomorrow just because of data changing in the economy. And in case you didn't hear the letters FTX over the weekend, boy, is that a crazy story that is unfolding extremely fast and looks way deeper and more complicated than it did just last week. Now, I'm not going to go down a bunch of rabbit holes and talk to you about all the Bernie Madoff type stuff that's been happening behind this story. However, I am going to say that all of the ripple effect and how deep this goes in risk exposure is not yet known. And over the next couple weeks and the next couple months, you're going to start finding out that agencies, hedge funds, investment banks, Wall Street in general is going to learn how much they were or were not exposed to this FTX catastrophe. I'll probably have to make a whole separate video just about that thing. Well, Andy, what does all this mean for mortgage rates? Like I already said, last week mortgage rates took a huge dip when the CPI report came out better than expected, but it was really just because it was better than expected. It's not that inflation is actually going in the different direction. We'd need to see a negative or a minus sign in front of that number in order to see it go in the other direction. But for now, mortgage rates are lower than they have been in weeks and months, and they might just hang out there for a little bit pending this week's data releases. But rates are probably gonna walk the knife's edge a little bit this week because they could kind of tilt one way or another, maybe ever so slightly, but I don't think we're gonna see broad, volatile swings unless something unexpected comes out in this news cycle Monday through Friday. So if you are in escrow right now, I highly advise you talk to your loan officer about what it looks like to lock as soon as possible. It's not because I think the high side is coming around the corner, lurking, waiting to grab you, or it's gonna be even lower tomorrow. I'm not gonna tell you should float your loan either, and here's why. Years and years ago, I had a client who was particularly having a difficult time making a decision on when to lock his loan. And no matter how much information we were able to come together and try to make some progress on that, the question still remained, man, I don't wanna lock my loan. I don't wanna be upset or disappointed that I made the wrong choice. And here's the two choices I gave him to finally help conclude his decision. How would you rather be upset when you wake up tomorrow? Do you want to lock your loan today and wake up tomorrow finding out that the loan is actually lower? Or do you want to float your loan, meaning roll the dice and wait, and then wake up tomorrow that your rate is actually higher? Make your decision based on that. Well, when it was presented that way, the decision became easy for him was, well, lock my loan. I'd rather be more upset that the loan is lower tomorrow than wait and see and it's higher. I'm not suggesting that that is what you do. What I'm suggesting is you talk to your loan officer about what is right for you in this market and these circumstances. But if you're having a particularly hard time making the right decision, decide what you want to wake up to tomorrow and what's going to give you greatest peace of mind and the best position to win in the market. Okay, that was a lot again today because there's just a lot going on, but I want you to please go ahead and like this video, share this video. Remember to talk to other people you know, love, and trust about how you're winning in mortgage and real estate, what kind of moves you might need to make, and come forward. If you're confronted with situations you don't know how to handle or you're not sure what you should do about the equity in your home, should I or should I not build an ADU? Should I get a line of credit? Should I sell my house right now or should I wait 6 months? There is a ton of resourceful professionals around us that we can help you get connected with in order to make those next best choices. Send us a DM, give us a call, text your loan officer. You can comment on the video of this thread. Let us know how we can help you win in mortgage and real estate for the rest of 2022 and especially looking downrange into 2023. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week and we'll see you again next week.